Well, hello. So today is actually December 9th, which is so funny because that means I ran the New York City Marathon literally over a month ago at this point, and I'm just getting around to film like this little intro and like some of my thoughts a month later. It's been a really wild month. But before I cut back to all the footage I took on actual race day and at the Expo, I just want to throw in a quick disclaimer that I am not a real YouTuber. I just do videos for fun. I really just make videos just for myself and for my own memories. So this whole video is just for me to watch back one day in the future and just remember when the first time I ran the New York City Marathon. So again, just a disclaimer for that. I'm not a real YouTuber. This is just a race recap really for myself in the future. That being said, I did pay for my race registration, everything all myself. This is not sponsored, anything like that. I actually ran the New York City Marathon with a charity. So I ran with the World Wildlife Fund and I had a charity bib through them. I apologize that my phone is shaking. My cat just jumped off the table that my phone is sitting on. But I ran with the World Wildlife Fund and I raised $3,000 in order to run the New York City Marathon. So just to say, overall, I had a really great time running the marathon. The New York City Marathon was a dream marathon for me to run. I'd always wanted to run the New York City Marathon, and I'm so happy that I finally got to run the New York City Marathon. With that being said, it was one of the toughest marathons I've run. The main reason being is that the marathon was on a Sunday. That Thursday before the marathon, I actually got quite ill, basically just with a really bad sore throat, like cold-like symptoms, everything you can imagine with a cold. And because of that, I actually thought of maybe deferring my race until next year, until 2023, because I was really not feeling well. If you also ran the race in 2022, you'll know it was very unseasonably warm for November in New York. So between the warm, humid weather, me not feeling well, and then during the race, I also got a little bit injured as well. I knew it was not going to be a good race. So I did consider deferring. I ended up chose not to, and I did run the race. But with all that being said, you're going to hear in the footage that you're about to watch that you hear me as I'm filming when I'm running that I was like, oh, I do not feel well right now. And that's what I'm referring to, is that I didn't feel well because I was sick before I even started the race. And again, I will say, if you are sick, you should not be running. It is not good to run when you're sick. You're more susceptible to injury. You're more susceptible to getting even more sick afterwards. So I do not suggest running sick. If you are currently sick and you're thinking about running a race, do not do what I did. But with that being said, though, I will now jump you all back to November 5th, which was the day that I went to the Expo and that I arrived in New York City from Philadelphia, so you can watch all the footage. This is going to be a long video, so strap yourselves in for a long video. And yeah, and after you get to see all that footage, we'll jump back here. Alrighty. Okay, so it's big. The cup is this way. So I suppose I'll go do that first. Not sure if there's a difference in these lines. Oh, look how it's crazy. Okay, here we go. So I know my bib number. I'm in the 40,000s. So I'm all the way down there. I have a feeling this will be the biggest expo I've ever been to. You also have the running for kids thing over there. Can you imagine being bib 100? Yeah, I'm all the way over there. As I'm getting closer, there's also a runner support center over here. All right, I'm gonna get my bib and then I'll return. All right, I got my bib. They do check your ID, and they do check. They do scan your bib as well. So I'll hang over to the t-shirts. And I will be actually over here in the women's. Oh, sorry. I'll be over here in the women's t-shirts. So. All right. And I think when you get your t-shirt, you also get your little clear bag as well. So that is what I am aiming for. I heard the shirt is cut small, so I'm going to get a medium. Normally I would get a size small, but everyone online has been saying the shirts are cut small. And I don't really like when my tech shirts fit too tight, so. Alright, so I got the bag. They didn't even ask if I had ordered a small or medium. They just gave it to me, so. Alright, and now we'll head into the Expo. I'm actually wearing my old pair of New Balances right now. Funny enough. Alright, you come out first into the men's apparel. I have already purchased the official jacket and sweatshirt. Trying to make my way over to the women's apparel. I really want a t-shirt. Some race tees. Alright, I'm gonna go shopping. I'm checking out now. I'm getting this little magnet and this t-shirt. They did not have the t-shirt that I actually wanted, so I'll have to try to find that online. Alright, so when you come out of the main thing, you come into this little section where you can take photos. This couple is not moving. As I'm by myself, I'm not going to take any photos, obviously. And as I'm running by myself, I have no one to take photos with. That's okay though. I know there's like a lot of freebies you can get, but honestly, I don't really need anything. Like Gatorade's giving out some free samples over there. There's some cute t-shirts too out here as well. I don't wear 06 though, I wear New Balance, funny enough. Right, here's some gels. I did bring all of my own gels, so I don't need any of that this time. Being honest, I'm getting kind of hungry, so I may leave and go get food and then just go to the hotel. There is nothing I particularly want and or need from here. I have this cool wall where you can write like why you run. Maybe I'll do that real quick. Why do I run? That is a good question. So that's what the finish line will look like. Can't wait. It'll be good. Alright, it's been a few hours since I last vlogged at the Expo, but I thought I would do a little room tour because this was really nice. So I just want to say thank you so much to my parents for getting us a room here. We're at the Sheraton Times Square and we got upgraded to a suite. So this is mine and Ted's suite. I have already unpacked a little bit here. So this jacket I'm going to wear tomorrow morning to the race. That's my other half of a cookie. This is some of the stuff I got the Expo. I will do all the things I got the Expo at home, so I'll do that at another time and insert the clip. I decided to take that infamous photo that everyone usually does. It's like when they set up their clothes for tomorrow. So I've never done it before, but I was like, you know what? I got this little space here. So here's all my stuff, my little bib. And we have such a nice view. So this is partially why I wanted to film, was just to remember this really nice view out of the hotel room. And then on the other side of the suite, of course, we have our bedroom. Of course, super nice view again. So like that's like Times Square right over there. And of course, I can't believe like all of that obviously is Central Park. And that's why my mom picked this hotel, was so that we'd be really close to like the finishing line, because the finish line is in Central Park. So it'll be pretty easy, which will be good. And then on the other side of the hotel, I got another TV over here. There's me, the closet, and of course we have the bathroom. I think there's so much counter space though in this bathroom. Like I normally don't get a hotel room with this much counter space. Alright, it's currently 6 in the morning. Don't step in the trash. We're walking through Times Square. Kitty's right here. By the Lion King. 2022 ball. You kind of see the huge crowd. Is this like the line? I don't know. There's a lot of people though. Awesome, thank you so much. Yeah, that's the line. Alright, so we're currently walking to the end of the line. That's the line over there. Yeah, we're not even at the end yet, so I think I can see it though at the end of this block. Alright, I think I just got to the end of the line right here. So Ted is checking to make sure I'm on the right line. So the buses are there. But we currently wrap 5 times for the entire block. And I started at the other end of the block, so I am going to go back and forth 5 different times in this line. I'm almost back at the end of the block that I started on, which is 6th Ave. So I just walked from 6th Ave to 5th Ave. I'm walking back to 6th, and I'm about to actually enter the real line because I've been on the sidewalk this whole time. So yeah, about to enter the real line, everyone. It's about 6:30, and my last time going back to 6th Ave. Alright, I've made it to the buses. Woo. A lot of security. Look at the cute puppy. Alrighty, not sure which bus I'm gonna get on yet.
Keep going to the front, guys, to the front, not here. Keep going, keep going, keep going. Keep going. Keep going down.
I'm going to the front.
To the next one, everyone. Keep coming down. Keep coming down. Next corner, everyone. The next corner.
Getting off the bus. They're like setting up for the start. He just released a really loud cannon and everyone jumped. It was quite aggressive. Yeah, but that's the starting line. I just went through security. And now I'm just heading into the starters village. just waited online for about 45 minutes to go to the bathroom. So that's where I'm at this morning. I'm currently sitting down. That's why the angle's weird. I'm sitting down though by my corral and wave, so when the time is right, I'm just gonna go walk right through the crowd right over there. And that's where I get to start. I'm actually sitting right next to the trash can, so love that for myself. Sorry, I don't feel like standing up, but the cannon's about to go off for the first official wave. So that was the cannon for the first actual wave, like not the elites or the or like the wheelchairs or anything like that. And it's currently 9:10 in the morning. Alright, I can announce also where I'm staying right now is the only spot in this whole field that I have service. This spot only. Everywhere else I cannot send a text message or see anything. Yeah, wave 3 just went in the corral, and once they get going, then I'll be able to enter my corral. Alright, I just got to my corral. Officially in Brooklyn. Someone had their dog out and he let me eat his dog's nose. Favorite and 71st or something. There's some over here. I don't know where. I like this. I'm tired. Oh, my leg really hurts. Second. Don't through the tunnel. Hey! I just saw my family. Seeing them. I'm now in 10 miles. I got 10 miles to go. But this race, the goal is to just finish. I don't feel well. My right leg does not feel well. So today, we're going to finish. I think that's good to have a race where you're not going for time, you're not going for anything else, just to run the race. Alright, I think we're going to see Shannon soon. She says she's between 76 and 77 on the left. I'm getting 76 right now. Keep an eye out for her. Oh, there's so many people. Walking so I don't miss her. I'm really sweaty, I'm sorry.
How are you? My phone's not working. I don't know where anyone else is. How are you?
I'm doing okay. My leg hurts and I feel nauseous this entire ride.
Oh no.
It's okay now.
Keep going. Yay.
My parents are going to mile 25, I think.
Next year, I'm going to head that way too. My phone's not sending or receiving anything.
It's okay. I do have signal on Staten Island. Every time I try to send it's not listening.
The app says you're still live. Like, it has not moved since I got here. I'm like, oh my god.
No, that's okay. Yeah, if you want to text my mom the train, then you can.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, let me tell you, Queensborough Bridge, worst bridge ever. What a long bridge.
Oh my god.
Long, sad bridge. Never go over that bridge again.
Oh my
Alright,
god.
I'll see you in 10 miles.
Yay, bye.
Alright, I just saw Shannon, which was so great to see her. Mile 17, so less than 10 to go. Yeah, but she's gonna go wrap around to meet my parents at mile 25, so I'll see them towards the end. Yeah, I feel not great, my leg hurts, I feel nauseous. And we're just going to finish today. Alrighty. If you ever wonder what it's like to go through a water station, this is what it's like. And most races will do Gatorade, then water, and then bathrooms, which is what this one is as well. So there's a few stations though where the water was first and Gatorade are second, but I don't really know why that was, but almost every station has been the same so far. Yep, I can see why people hate this. Also, at most of the stations, there's also a medical station as well. Some races will have medical stations, not just at the water stations, but elsewhere. For instance, the Disney World races also have, I think, extra medical stations because it's often very hot in Florida. And medical stations have all different types of stuff. They will have water too. Like when I was in Disney for the first time, I went to a medical station just for some water. But they'll have different body glide, shaving cream, medicine, things like that. So I have to go to the Willis Avenue Bridge. And now is one of those moments we ask ourselves, is going to the Bronx really worth it? Not sadly. I am walking up this whole uphill of the bridge. I simply just cannot. Not today. We're at mile 20. I always say that the last 6 miles of marathon are super special because this is only going to be the 4th time of my life where I've run over 20 miles. So of course, the first time was in Walt Disney World, the second time was the virtual Walt Disney World one, and then last year in Philadelphia. These last 6 miles truly are something else. It's something that is very, very special. handful of times. Oh, 6 miles left, everyone. 6 miles left.
Damn bridge. It's truly the last.
Last bridge. Anderson
It's
Ave.
the last damn bridge of the New York City Marathon. Hot as hell. Yo, Roxy, vamos, Argentina. Vamos.
Thank goodness it's not steep. I'm dying. Mile 25. Behind the pineapple dude. Alright. They said they're in the crosswalk, which I think is coming up soon. Alright, not that crosswalk. Just. Alright, I see them. Okay.
I'll get it
Go,
this time.
Marco!
There it goes. You okay? Yeah, you'll make it? I'll see you
Go,
down
go, go.
there.
They're flying behind me. Next up is these recovery bags. On both sides, I think. I guess I'll go on this side. Oh my god. Feels like my calf is going to fall off my leg.
Keep walking this more.
They got a whole table of them. Awesome.
Apples are on the right.
Thank you, sir.
Sorry. Apples on the right. Apples around.
There's more bags down here in case you missed the first go around. Now we got our post-race ponchos. Oh my god, my back.
Either side, whichever, left or right.
This bag is heavy. It's not to complain. That's all. The poncho is way thicker than I thought it was going to be. It's actually like a proper poncho. We're going to put it on. Still walking out. Alright, still in the finishers. Walk out. And now we get to walk uphill. Yay! All right, so in full transparency, today is December 5th. So it's literally been 1 month since I actually went to the expo, which is wild to think about. That it's been 1 full month. But yeah, so at the expo, you get this clear bag, and this is the bag that you will use if you're going to bring like a bag to the starting village. So yeah, so that's because everyone has to have a clear bag. So this is the bag that you can use. I didn't bring mine to the starting village, as you would have seen. Also there too, I got my shirt. So this is what the shirt looks like. I'll open it up in a second. And then I also got my bib as well at the expo. So yeah, so this is my bib that I've already worn now, obviously. And then on the back, you're supposed to fill out like the emergency contact information, and I did not. So sorry about that. All right, I just moved some things around. But again, at the expo, this was the shirt that came with the registration. So it says 2022 on the front. It even says the date as well of the marathon that we went to. I got it in a size medium. People on Facebook are saying these shirts were cut very small. So I normally would get a size small, but got a size medium because I wanted to size up. Then on the sleeve, it says New Balance. So it's an actual New Balance shirt, which is kind of cool. And then on the back, of course, it's just a lot of the sponsors. Again, it says marathoner since, you know, there's other races that weekend. Oh, it also has the boroughs of New York as well, which is cool. At the expo itself, I bought this t-shirt. So this was just says, you know, run New York City 26.2. This is a very oversized t-shirt, so it actually fits quite large when I put it on. And then also at the expo as well, I just got this magnet that says TCS, New York City Marathon. So then online at the actual New Balance store, like online, I bought the sweatshirt and the official jackets. I bought these online because I wasn't sure if they would sell out by the time I got to the expo. So I actually bought them before I even went to the expo. So both these I got online. This is a size medium. This was technically in the men's section, but I wanted to have an oversized sweatshirt. And then this is also a size medium as well. And this is the woman's cut jacket. And again, I didn't get a finisher jacket because I didn't like the color. I thought the color was just so ugly. There was a bit like this weird blue color that I just didn't really like. So yes, I just got the black and white one that just says 2022. And then on the back of this one, there's nothing on the back of the sweatshirt, but on the back of the jacket, it just says, you know, the same thing, just the logo a little bit bigger. And there's no hood, and like this doesn't zip off or anything like that, but it is reflective. Like this is obviously a running jacket, so you can go running in this if you wanted to. And then also on the sleeve, it just says the NYRR on the sleeve. So after the race, you get this cape. So you may have seen me get the cape, or you may have seen me like get in line to get this cape, but it just says NYRR, and there's also a hood on it as well in case there's raining, but this is fleece lined. So it actually is a very high quality cape, all things considered. There's no arms or anything like that. But yeah, but it's fleece lined, and then there's like Velcro. So it's like you Velcro it closed when it's on you. But yeah, but it's actually a really good quality. Let me try to zoom out more. A really good quality cape, all things considered. And then on the back as well, it just says, let me zoom in. Again, just the New York City Marathon logo. So everyone got one of these capes after we came off the race, and it came in this blue bag. So in this bag as well, I also got like a few things of Gatorade, some like snacks, a piece of fruit, you know, things like that. This was actually in the Expo bag, my bad. But yeah, you got this official, you know, program in the Expo bag. Again, this is the after the race bag. Then of course you get your medal. So here is the medal for 2022. So this is what it looks like. Very lovely. And then on the back, I didn't get it engraved or anything like that, but you could if you wanted to. And then I did notice, and then also here's just what the kind of what the string looks like if you want. This is my snow village up here. So again, we're in Christmas season now. It's December 5th, everyone. But this is my first marathon medal that it does not say 26.2 anywhere on the medal. I thought that was really interesting. It does say like marathon, you know, over here, but yeah, it doesn't say 26.2 anywhere on the actual medal itself, which I thought was kind of interesting to a certain extent. But yeah, but I really like the medal. Alrighty, so the last footage you would have just watched was me just showing what I got at the race expo, as well as the finisher's bag after I finished the race. I filmed that a few days ago. Again, today's December 9th, so it has taken quite some time for me to get around to filming. It's also because by the time I'm ready to film, it's like too dark because the sun sets at like 4 o'clock right now here on Eastern Standard Time. So yeah, so I'm trying to squeeze this into filming so I can get everything in. But yeah, so again, overall, let me just scroll. If I'm looking down, it's because I have some notes written here. So yes, I arrived in New York City on November 5th. From Philadelphia. I took a bus into New York City. I went straight to the expo, which is at the Javits Center in New York City. It was the largest running expo that I've ever been to thus far. It was really cool to see as well how like some of the big expos look. I think maybe the Walt Disney World Expo was bigger, but I don't really know because the Walt Disney World Expo is in 3 different buildings, and whereas this one is all in one. So Disney seems bigger, but I also realize it's in 3 different buildings. So of course it's going to seem bigger if you're like walking from building to building. But yeah, it was quite large. By the time I had arrived there on Sunday afternoon, a lot of things were already sold out. So just keep that in mind that if you really want to buy things at the expo, a lot of things get sold out by the time you get to the end of the expo days. However, a lot of the items are also sold online, and even after the race, they will do restocks online as well. And things will also go on sale for Black Friday. So I didn't get anything on Black Friday, but some of the items that I paid like full price on, like this t-shirt I'm currently wearing, it went on sale on Black Friday. But you know, it's fine. I wanted the items at the time anyway. So all right, so the morning of the race, I had set my alarm for about 5 a.m. to 5:30 a.m. And that was when I had gotten up, got ready, and then me and my partner Ted, we left the hotel at 6 a.m. I was staying at the Sheraton Times Square Hotel, which is about a 10-minute walk from the New York City Public Library, and that is where the Midtown buses were going to take me from Midtown Manhattan to Staten Island for the start of the race. You do have to sign up for how you're going to like get to the start of the race way earlier than this. So I knew I was going to want to take the Midtown buses, and I was told like on Facebook groups and everything that the Midtown bus registration link things go first. So I was able to register for the Midtown bus, and again, I got to the line around 6:10 in the morning, and then I got onto the bus by 6:50 a.m. So I was on the line for the bus for quite some time, and you would have seen I was kind of weaving in and out for quite some time as well. I will say though, when you get on the bus, they only check your bib, and it's written quite in small letters on your bib that it said Midtown bus 6:30, because you could do the 6 a.m. bus or the 6:30 bus. I chose the 6:30 bus because I knew my corral wasn't until 11 a.m. They weren't really checking to see what was on your bib. They were just checking to make sure if you had a bib. So I mean, like, this is not really good advice, so don't take my advice too strongly, but I would say if you really wanted the Midtown bus and you didn't get it during registration, if you maybe just show up to the line, they may still let you on a bus. I can't guarantee that, but that's what it seemed like, that not everyone maybe perhaps was signed up for the Midtown buses, but a lot of people were in that line, and again, they were just kind of like letting anyone with the race bib onto the buses. So yes, and then we took the bus, and then we leave from the New York City Public Library, and then I got to the starting village around 7:50 a.m. So it did take about an hour from when we left Manhattan. I will say that we got there a lot earlier, and then we waited on the bus itself for a really long time, like literally on the Verrazano Bridge. We were just sitting on the bridge for a long time. And then afterwards, I had found out that there was a lot of disorganization that was going on at the starting line for a lot of the buses coming in, especially with the Staten Island ferries. There's a lot of disorganization for people getting off the ferries and taking those shuttle buses from the ferry up to where the starting line was. So I understand there was a lot kind of going on that day. But at the time, I didn't know that. We just kind of sat on the bus for a while. So again, by the time I got off the bus, it was around, I would say, again, like around 8 a.m. basically. You go through security and everything. Security was fine. You do have to make sure that if you have anything that's not in a clear bag, they will check your bag for you. But yeah, just keep that in mind. If you have things in the clear bag that they can't see into the middle of the clear bag, they will check the bag. And you can't have anything in your pockets, which I had a lot of stuff in my pockets. So I was really holding a lot of items in my hands when I was going through the security check. But that was fine again. And then from 8 a.m. to 11 a.m., I kind of just hung out for the most part. There's not really a whole lot to do, all things considered. I did walk around the starting village a little bit. Will have seen I waited 45 minutes online for a porta potty, so that was great. But again, the lines do lessen up. So if you get to the starting village and you see long lines for the bathrooms, the lines will eventually lessen up, especially if you're in a later corral. Some of those beginning, like first corrals, they will go off, and then, there's just less people at the starting village, so the lines will lessen up. There are also porta potties in the corrals themselves. So if you don't go to the corral, like the main part of the starting village, there are porta potties in there as well. So if if you're not think you're going to make it, or if you think you're going to be late to your corral or something like that, there's bathrooms in there. So don't worry too much about that. Again, I had nothing to do, so I waited 45 minutes online. I did bring a Pop-Tart with me, and I ate my Pop-Tart around 9:45 in the morning. If you see my tree shaking, it's just because my cat is currently climbing the tree, and it's just because she wants my attention. So just ignore the fact that the tree is shaking. That's what I normally do. I had my Pop-Tart around 9:45 a.m. and then at 10:20 a.m. that is when they had to start lining up in the corrals themselves before we started walking to where the starting line was. So you can kind of see her in the tree. Just ignore her. That's what I tend to do. If anyone else has cats during Christmas time, you know how it is. So you get on line, and then you slowly walk up to the starting line. And I was in, I forget what the wave is, but I'll put it on the screen right now. But at 10:55, that was when my corral and wave was actually leaving. So I left basically right at 10:55. So right after the race started, everything for the most part was fine. It was so much fun running on the Verrazano Bridge. I was on the lower part of the Verrazano Bridge, so it was really cool to kind of be down there and see the views from there, but also realize that there's so many people just running on this bridge. And again, there is so much energy too when you're running, but just know it is very quiet. So it's like any race, whenever you start any race, it's always so quiet when you first start, because obviously no one's talking, because most people are running and they're a little bit out of breath. And two, a lot of people have headphones in, so maybe listening to music, a podcast, anything like that. So it's always so quiet. I never start my podcast and music the first 2 miles of a race. I always wait till I'm a little bit further in, and I just like to listen to the serenity of running. But again, it is very quiet. And then once you get off the bridge, then you get into Brooklyn. Once you get into Brooklyn, that is when the crowds are really going to start. So the Brooklyn crowds start right away, and they are really great, I have to admit. It was really fun running through Brooklyn. And you do spend the majority of your time in Brooklyn. Like, you're in Brooklyn basically from when you get off the Verrazano Bridge until mile 13. So half the race takes place in Brooklyn, and you really do feel it for sure. There are a few uphills throughout Brooklyn, like on some of those streets, and some of those are really tough. But again, there are so many crowds in Brooklyn. It's really great. By mile 7 to 8, that was when I really started to not feel well. So you even see that in my splits as well. By 6 to 7, I started to slow down. And then 7 to 8, that was really when I was not feeling well. And at that point, that is also when it downpoured for about 5 minutes. So it downpoured rain for 5 minutes. And then right after it downpoured rain, as I was running up a hill, a woman on the sidelines, she set off a confetti cannon right as I ran past her. So because it just downpoured rain and I was soaking wet, all the confetti just stuck to me and then did not leave my body until I showered after the race. And looking back, even in the moment, I thought it was so funny. I'm just like, I cannot get this confetti off me. Just covered in confetti. So what are the odds, basically? And again, I was soaking wet for the rest of the race. It definitely was not the greatest. Also at this point as well, by mile 10, I started to notice that many of the water stations, the volunteers were struggling. I really felt bad for the volunteers because they were doing so well. They were really working hard, but they simply were just not able to keep up with the amount of runners that there were. So when I went through many water stations, I could not get a cup of water because they couldn't fill the cups fast enough. Again, not the volunteers' fault. They were just quite understaffed, I think, and they just couldn't keep up with the inflow of how many of us there really were. So because of that, I went through a few water stations where I just did not get water. So again, on top of not feeling well, then becoming dehydrated because I was not able to drink any water, I was not feeling great. At this point, I knew I was going to see my family at mile 16. So I texted my mom and asked her, can you get me a water bottle? So when I passed you at mile 16, if I hadn't had any water through water stations, I knew I had water to look forward to. So I realized that is a privilege in that sense, that I was able to text my family and they were able to get me a water bottle. There are a lot of runners who run races that don't have any support along the sidelines. I will say I did see some just random people just giving water out to people. But again, it was tough going through water stations without getting any water for a few miles. Around mile 13, I did go to the bathroom. It was also raining at this point too. I remember sitting in the porta potty, listening to the rain on top of the porta potty. But I was right at mile 13, right before you get on the next bridge that takes you into Manhattan from Brooklyn. And again, around mile 13 as well is when I knew that there was no coming back from the fact that I was not having a good race. I knew I was not going to get a good time. I knew there was just nothing I could do. And at that point, that was when I was like self-forgiving. I'm just going to forgive myself and I'm going to finish this race. And that's what I just kept saying. I'm finishing this race. I'm going to have a good race. I'm going to have fun during the race. And I'm not going to do this for time. I'm not going to do this for PR. I just want to finish the race at this point. And as healthy as I could be. Again, I was not feeling well, so I was just trying my best. By the time it got to the Queensboro Bridge, I will say, you will have heard me say when I talked to Shannon, the saddest, longest bridge I've ever been on. And I say that full of love, but again, I was not feeling well. It is uphill for quite some time because it's a steady uphill. It's not steep or anything, but there are a lot of runners who were also just walking up that bridge that we were all just walking together. There were very few people, I think, that were really running at pace up that bridge. And it felt like that bridge went on forever. That was like, again, the longest bridge I think I've ever been on. And it just kept going. But I also knew too, at the end of the bridge, that is when you get to mile 16, and I knew my family was going to be right after the bridge, right after mile 16. And it was absolutely amazing to see them. It is so exciting when you see people when you're running. And I realized too what a privilege it is to have people at races, because they only see you as a runner for like, what, 30 seconds at the most. But for you, looking forward to seeing them throughout those miles, it really does make a difference to when you're running. And it was so exciting to see them as well. I'm so happy I got to see them. And again, I was so grateful too that they were able to bring me water. So I know I put some photos from when I had stopped. You would have seen how soaking wet my shorts were. You actually can see the water in my shorts. And then again at mile 17, once I was fully in Manhattan, that was when I saw Shannon. She was texting me as well, saying that she was at like just after mile 17. And I am so happy she filmed those moments. I had no idea she was filming at the time. It was only until after the race she sent me the footage. And I'm so happy to have those memories. And I realized too in the footage, I'm like, I don't feel well. I'm tired. My knee hurts. I'm nauseous. But even though I was not having a good race, looking back, I'm like, oh, but that is so great to have just the memories of being in that race and being in the moment. So I am very glad I still have the memory, despite the fact I wasn't really feeling well. In this part of my notes, I wrote the race was going by so slowly, but also so quickly at the same time. By the time I realized I saw Shannon at mile 17, I was like, I cannot believe I've already run 17 miles. Like, I feel like it has been like I just started the race, but at the same time, I know each mile it was like so hard and so difficult. And I was getting so, obviously I was so tired. And again, I was quite sick at the same time. So that definitely was not helping higher. But again, the miles were flying by, but because I was nauseous and in pain and tired, they were also, taking forever too and quite excruciating. So by the time when you come back from Manhattan after you go into the Bronx, I thought I was going to hit Central Park quicker than I actually did, but you actually don't reach Central Park for quite some time after you get back into Manhattan from the Bronx. So just keep that in mind. I literally thought I was going to get to the Bronx get to Central Park, and you really don't. It takes a while for you to get back into Central Park. Once I was in Central Park, this is when I took a really bad step. I don't know what happened. Central Park kind of, if you've been in before, you kind of know it's a little bit hilly, but I took a bad step, and that was when my right knee basically gave out, and I was in a lot of pain in my right knee. I was sort of in a little, not pain, but I could sort of feel my right knee throughout the race, and so I knew I was just like, oh, I'm definitely not in a good spot right now. But yeah, I took a bad step and my knee gave out, and I was like, I don't know how I'm gonna finish this race. I was really wondering, but I also knew I only had like a mile and a half left at that point. I was like, no matter what, I'm finishing this race. But my knee did not feel well. The pain did go away after I took a little walking break and started running at a very slow pace, mind you, but it was definitely tough. And then again, still wasn't feeling well, still nauseous, still probably dehydrated. So again, that is why the race was so tough for me, and that is why my time is not very good. I saw my family again at mile 25. You would have seen that footage because Shannon did film it, which was really great. Again, so happy to have the footage. I know I wasn't feeling well, but again, looking back, I'm like, you kind of always look at every race through rose-colored lens of being like, no, it was a great race. But I know in the moment I was not really feeling that great. And then after I left my family, I knew I only had 1 mile left. And that is, I feel like whenever you get emotional, especially during a race, is just being like, you're almost there to the finish line. You did 4 months of training, to lead up to this day. You just ran for, 5 hours of your life, 5 hours straight. You're about to finish this race. So I always tear up a little bit whenever I get to the end. And do note the finish line is up a hill. So you do see the little hill and you do have to run up a hill. And you know what? that's fine. Most of the rare marathons I've run, I've always finished uphill. I don't really know how the courses always end up that way, but I'm always running up a hill to get to that finish line. So once I actually finished, I started the race at 10:55 and I crossed the finish line right after 4 o'clock. So in my time, I had 4:08. My official time was 5 hours, 11 minutes, 24 seconds, and my official pace was 11 minutes, 53 seconds per mile. So not my fastest marathon. My fastest marathon was the Philadelphia Marathon. I do have a whole video about that marathon as well. I'll have that linked below in case you're wondering about that. But yeah, I finished 40 minutes slower than my last PR from last year. So it was very disappointing when I saw my time. But again, there were a lot of factors that were going into the fact that I was not going to be running my best for the length that I was running. The finishes area as well, the longest finishes area I've ever been to, because you have to walk so long to even get out of the area. Even if you want to try to leave before like the end, you can't because there's fences. So you'd have to like move this gigantic fence to get into Central Park to like turn around basically. And I just couldn't do it. So I just walked all the way to the end. It took so long. I was texting my family. They were trying to find me. It took quite a long time from the time I finished the race by the time I found my family. I think it was like a full hour, which is wild to think about. It took that long. So again, not my fastest marathon. I was a little bit disappointing of that. But again, I still had a great race. I still had a lot of fun running the race. Even looking back now and even in the moment too, I was having fun running the race. New York City was a dream marathon for me to run and I'm so happy I got to run it. Again, I would advise not to run if you were feeling sick. Definitely defer the race if you are able to. Or again, there's always an option, try to figure out that option because running when you're sick is not ideal. I did get very sick afterwards as well. The whole week after the race, I was quite ill. So no surprise there that I was quite ill after the race. That is what happens when you run quite some time when you're sick. But again, I had a great time. New York City was always a dream marathon for me to run. I would love to run it again in the future, but I do like to run different marathons every year. So I don't think I'll be running New York City anytime soon. And again, I am really happy I got to run with the World Wildlife Fund as well. It was really great running with them. I will say if you do not get into the marathon from the lottery, there are a lot of charities that offer charity bibs. I did try to get into lottery, did not get into the lottery, as did many other people. So as soon as you don't get to the lottery, I would just suggest looking around at charities, seeing which charity that maybe you feel strongly about. But it is really great to run with a charity and run for a cause that you really believe in. But that is my race recap for now. This video is going to be very long, so I apologize for the length of this video. But I just wanted to get this finally filmed after over a month of running the race. Again, I'm wearing my little t-shirt as well. So thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed watching this video. If you ran the race, congratulations. You should still feel very proud of yourself. I know a lot of people didn't have the best times or times that they were expecting for this race. But again, do not be hard on yourself and do not feel bad. I mean, it was definitely not the best conditions that day to be running a full marathon in New York City. But you should still be proud of yourself. 26 miles is no feat, and it is still quite the adventure to run this race. For next year, I am already planning to run a marathon next year. I'm thinking of doing the Niagara Falls Marathon in Canada. So I'm very excited to run the Niagara Falls Marathon. That one I'm hoping I'll PR. We'll see what's going on. Hopefully I don't get sick before that race and hopefully the weather holds out. So we will see. But yeah, that is the marathon I'm planning for 2023. This was my 4th marathon and I had a really great time running my 4th marathon. Again, if you ran it, congratulations. If you're looking to run it in years future, good luck. You got this. I believe in you. And yeah, I will see you all next time.